Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Josh, for those of you who don't know who I am, and we are excited. Now, I want to invite you guys out to our virtual trading chat room. Every single day we go live in our Discord group. You can get there by the first link in the description box below. That's going to reroute you to the Discord server. Again, I hope to see you in there. Okay, I want to do a quick lesson today on Apple. Apple was a gap and go scenario, and I wanted to kind of talk about the support and resistance. We also looked at ZM and then NIO. NIO had some good news on it. So just real quick, the importance behind
the Apple trade is the fact that we gapped higher in the market. Have you been paying attention to gaps? Is that a strategy you've been paying attention to, or what is your level of trading at this point?
I'm just looking at the charts. I'm not really placing any trades at all. I just am taking as much information as I can while I can. I don't have a lot of time to spend on the charts or the candles and reading and that. So I'm taking it the really slow approach, and I feel like that's what's really been working the best for me. There's a lot of lingo, there's a lot of terminology, there's a lot of information. And I just like yesterday when we were teaching about buying and selling pressure, today I was actually able to apply it to this Apple trade that it's really neat that I'm picking up little bits and pieces and just watching the charts. To me, it just seems to be what's been working.
Cool. So yeah, you mentioned that there was some selling pressure on Apple into 126 area. And as it continues down, we talked about this big green bar, the big up bar. And that gave us, it brought us up to the 50%, but we couldn't hold. And we talked about this prior day, just yesterday, how we had more selling pressure in at the 50%. So let me show you again, as far as on the 50%, on what we were looking for as far as our Fibonacci retracement.
I really like that Fibonacci that you've been reading and showing me. That is really, really helpful.
Good. Yeah, it makes it easy so we understand where our levels are at and where the stock's going to potentially get rejected at. So right here, the 50%. If we went ahead and marked the line, and I just like to keep things clear, right? And that way we just have an understanding of where the 50% is at. You saw that there was selling pressure right here in the market, and that's important. But what I really like is knowing that if we have a strong close, if the candle body closes at the low of the range of the candle, that means it's a stronger candle, right? And so what's important is that we have a lot of selling pressure in this particular candle. And then what's important is besides the news that we got on Apple this morning, which we can post up for the video for you guys, but I already kind of shared this. I tweeted it out already. So we actually had the gap up higher. And the point is we gapped over the high of this prior red candle. So we have a lot of selling pressure in it. And we talk about when we're discussing trading in a nutshell and the Accelerator program, how there becomes two forms of buying pressure and two forms of selling pressure. Do you have a understanding a little bit of how the different forms of pressure will work in the market at this point?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So knowing that there's sellers stuck in this position, which means the sellers would be trapped in their position. Anybody that held expecting the price to come back down, maybe the 120s or 121, they're now, when it gaps higher, they're all losing money. And so what we want to pay attention to is if these guys are losing money, they are fearful in the trade. So if they're holding their position down here and they're short the market, when the market opens up here, they're quite a bit underwater.
Yeah, that's a big gap.
That's a big gap.
To be under.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see the fear.
Yeah, when you wake up, you're like, what the? Like you're scared, right?
Yeah.
And so let's look at smaller time frames real quick. So if we go back to a 3-hour chart, which I always recommend, we have the big we have this gap higher in the market. And what I really liked about it was the fact that we had this nice pattern put in. So we have these higher lows set up where we're getting actual, so we have this first low, and then we have another low, and then we have a continuation low, and then right where the breakout point is, if you pay attention, that's 50% from this to here.
Oh, wow. That's really clear right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have those, what are they? Higher lows?
Yep, higher lows.
Yeah.
So we have higher lows, so we can tell that buyers are happier with the stock price, for example. And then we have the 50% retracement on the big down day that I have. It's building that pattern right underneath it. And we know that if we're under this 50%, so if we're underneath roughly around 123.40, that we are bearish beneath that point and we are bullish above that point. So, and that's right where we snap this 50% retracement, just looking on the Fibonacci retracements, right?
Right. What time frame was that again?
That was on the daily chart. So all we did is take the daily candle from this top here. So if we went ahead and we made another resistance line here.
Because that's really clear. That pattern is so clear in that daily.
Yeah. This chart's the 3-hour time frame. And the daily chart would be right here. And so this would be that daily, that big down day that we were talking about. And then we found that 50%. So we can make that, I generally make the 50% pink. And so now we have an idea. So let's move this line up exactly to the bottom of that candle. Now we have this candle's range. We found the 50% on this day. So now if we go back to the 3-hour time frame, now we can see we're building this really nice pattern, higher low setup underneath that 50%.
So you go to the bigger time frame to find the pattern.
All the time.
And then you go into a smaller time frame
to dial in.
To dial in and place your trade?
Yes. So the top-down approach. We call it the top-down approach. So we always start with the weekly, daily charts, and then 3-hour time frames, hourly time frames. And if we continue to go down, here's the hourly time frame. So we still get that same higher low setup. We're still finding higher lows. It doesn't matter what time frame we go to, we're still going to get that same pattern. It's just going to look a little different.
Oh, look at that.
So once we start getting these really strong,
I couldn't see that.
Yeah, when I did a live lesson just the other day, and he has gone pretty, like, he's been in the market for a while, longer than you, and he just had that same awakening, kind of like when we were able to point this out and just show him like that there is a wedge being built in here, a long flag pattern of some sort, and we're breaking to the top side. Generally, also, the top side is what breaks. So the flat part generally breaks before the trend does.
Wow.
Generally. Okay. So if we continue to look through the different time frames, and we'll just keep bringing them down. Just keep an eye, like here's a low, here's a higher low, and then another higher low. Let's go all the way down to a 15-minute chart. That's where I generally like to dial in the entries. So we still have the same higher lows
there it is.
that we have before.
Clear.
Yeah.
Clear as day.
Yeah. And so now what's really neat is we have this push up, and now we have this pullback, and that's our entry. And it's easy to go, okay, this is our stop loss beneath that power candle. This would be our stop. This would be our entry, which let's zoom in a little bit so we can see it more better. Okay, what I really like, and it doesn't give it to us perfectly, but it's okay. It just means it's stronger, is I like to see the 50% used on even the smaller patterns. So if I was to take, for example, this here to here, the 50% would be right around here. This would have been awesome if we got a deeper pullback. That would have been my entry and then up. But since we didn't, it's okay. We just got this push like this. We clear it. We just had a push down. This would be more like to like the 38.2 retracement. And then we had this push up, and now we get the 50% retracement on the next candle. Now this is our entry right there.
wait for that 50%.
Oh, I want to see it hold. If we can see it hold or reject, we know if we're bearish below or bearish beneath. Everything has to do with that 50%. That's all. Like that's a huge. Just to read charts, that's what you got to pay attention to all the time. We want to know who's winning, bears or bulls. Depends on if we're under the 50%, bears are winning. If we're over the 50%, then the bulls are winning.
That gives me more security, I feel like, when placing a trade.
Yeah.
Trying to read that 50%. And once that 50% is solid, I would feel more comfortable taking that trade, waiting for that. Because there's so many times where I feel like people get in a trade and they're not 100%.
Yeah.
They're more like 30% sure that it's going to work. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But by doing that 50%, I feel like that
you at least know where you're wrong. Yeah, you know where you're wrong in the trade when you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're not. There's no. It kind of takes the guesswork out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And so let's look at the same thing. So we just snapped the Fibonacci from the very bottom of this new candlestick to the very top of the candlestick, and now we got to find our 50% again. And I alerted just recently, just right now in the chat, if we hold this level, then we will remain bullish on Apple. And then we can potentially look for other stocks to continue higher. And I said, let's wait on the 30-minute chart. Let's wait to see how it reacts around this 125 level, 125.40. I'm giving it 125. I want to see if it gets a recapture and then continues higher. If it holds above this, we will continue being bullish. And if it consolidates throughout the day and throughout the night, then we could potentially take it long, because that would be a daily breakout at that point. Does that make sense? Cool.
Okay, so I hope this was useful. I want to see you guys in there. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget, click that link in the description box below. It's that first link, brings you to the Discord. I can't wait to see you guys in there.